Hi, everyone. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dean.
Welcome to another episode of The Real DMV, your backstage pass to all things film related in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. Well, Dean, we're back.
We are.
Yeah. We have a fun guest today.
Absolutely.
But before we get into that, so I was in acting class today with our beloved Katie Kalaki.
Oh, yeah?
And it was a makeup class. And so we had some of the folks from your Tuesday night class in there, and people were going over some auditions that they actually had for some roles they were trying to get. And one of the actors was struggling with how to get out of his own head. And, that's something that we have to tackle all the time. And Katie was giving him some pointers and really just talking about how do you get out of your own head, trust the space. When you first get a script, you want to sometimes run to making character choices and making emotional choices way too early before we even understand what the script is about and understanding the who, what, and the where.
Right.
And so, I'll even throw that out to the audience. We'd love to see some comments about how, if that's a problem for you and how you deal with it. I think it's a problem maybe for me and a lot of actors. You immediately say, this is how I think this character would do X. And that's not probably the right way to approach things necessarily.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it comes down to script analysis, right?
Right.
Before figuring out the who, what, when, where, why, what's the motivation for this character, not to sound cliche, but without examining. So you were in my class the other night. We were going over a script. I had the knowledge of having seen the show I was doing a scene from, so I knew where that character was coming from. But if you've never seen the show, you don't know what's coming. I think I was letting on a little too much. I was kind of foreshadowing some things that the audience wouldn't have been able to pick up on because you really only have that scene to go by, right? Mm-hmm. So the motivation for me in that scene at that time became something different. And that's because I didn't do proper scene analysis. It was just a cold read. We were just going over it for a first time. But you're exactly right. Sometimes you can get in your own head, and it's hard to get out.
Well, it was just another verification for me of how valuable acting classes can be. Because I think if I had caught myself in that loop like that individual did today, I wouldn't have known or been able to get myself out of it. And she is always good at, and a lot of acting teachers are good at kind of breaking you out of that and saying, hey, stop, let's try that again. Think about it a different way.
Yeah.
Make a different choice, if you will.
Yeah, she's good. She's good to see that. She can see that from an outside perspective and help out the actor. But
enough about me.
So, yeah, enough about you. We talk about you all the time.
A lot.
It's sad. But let's talk about our guest, right? Because this one's a great one. Just want to throw a couple things out here. Mindhunter, Big Little Lies, Lord of the Rings, and The Mist. Do you know what these books have in common? They're all books that I've never actually read, Matt. But aside from that, they're also examples of books that have been made into a TV series.
Got it.
Right? And typically, and some people might not know this, but if you want to adapt a TV series from a book, you typically need to do something called optioning. And that's where there's an agreement with the author to license rights to the production company to make that project. But what if you could take out the middleman and just have the author write the TV series?
Is this a question to me? Because I don't have answers for you. I stopped at you couldn't read.
Our guest didn't show up, so all the questions are for you right now.
You got it. All right.
You didn't know there was going to be a test today, did you? No. But our next guest, because she did finally show up, just, calm down. She was recently cast in such a project, and we'll talk to her about that. We'll also talk about a new feature film that she's acting in and producing. We'll ask her about the production role and how she sees, taking on all of that, called Dogwood, described as a gripping tale of heartbreak, desperation, and Wild West-style justice amidst the chaos following the U.S. Civil War. And the film also stars Eric Roberts.
Nice.
She's an actor, a producer, a writer, a filmmaker. I have to write all this down, folks, because I'm not a smart guy. And founder of her own production company. Say hello to the one and only Ruby Garnet. There we
She
go.
finally made it.
Finally. Listen, thanks for being here. And I think we were talking, maybe do we want to address the name?
You can
Stuff.
if you'd like, but I want to set the record straight. I was
Set the record
15 minutes prior to the 15 minutes prior of the time I was supposed to be here.
We're
So
just giving you.
I was not late.
No, she's not
She
late.
was.
Never late.
Yeah,
No.
it's true.
When I said
She's calling us
finally, and
out.
we were just happy to have her.
Absolutely.
You know, I think we'd asked her, and she jumped on the opportunity. So
I'm just
Yeah.
giving you a hard time.
it's good. It's good. We expected it. We want more. Yeah, I mean the list goes on of I don't know where to start with this guest. I mean, we've got production, we've got films that she's been in, very prominent ones.
Well, here's how we can start.
Go for it.
I like to start with 2 truths and a lie.
Ooh, our favorite the game.
Have you seen this yet? Have you heard this game?
I saw it once.
Okay.
Okay.
Here?
Here.
Okay. All right. I'm
So I'm
hoping
on
we're
to ya.
original. Okay. Well, 2 truths and a lie. We'll start easy. You're a veteran of the United States Armed Forces. You train MMA. You could take Matt in a fight. Which one's the lie?
Well, I am a veteran of the Marine Corps. It's the Armed Forces, but it is the best of the 5.
Thank you for your service.
I can vouch for that.
My pleasure. I used to train in MMA, so I need to take that off my IMDb.
Yeah, you know enough.
I am looking at doing a celebrity fight in September. So I
Matt?
could start training at any moment. And Matt, if you want to take me on and train me,
I thought for a second you were going to say I am going to kick Matt's ass
She
in
can
a few
take
minutes.
me on. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with this one. Wow. Yeah. So we share that bond.
We
the Marine
do.
Corps.
We do.
Okay.
But we all have a bond right now.
Yep.
Here,
Oh yeah, the other one, the big one.
the big one.
big
in,
one.
in a couple months, we're going to be filming something all together,
That's right.
right? Now, instead of interviewing ourselves about this, because we've talked about it ad nauseum here, Ruby will be playing the role of Amy in a production called The Body from Kitty Hawk Films. Is it Kitty Hawk Films? Am I getting that? If I'm getting it wrong,
right.
my apologies, Keith, because we've just been talking about The Body, but it's yet to film, right?
it is yet to film. I believe it's Kitty Hawk Films. It's some really great writing, so I'm really
Yes.
excited about it.
Starts in May.
Starts in May.
The filming starts in May.
The filming,
Yep.
yes. 3 to 5 episodes.
Yes,
For
I
the
believe
year?
so. Yeah, principal photography, I believe May 5th. Is that right? Cinco de Mayo.
Something like that. That sounds
There's been
fun.
a bunch of dates. I'd have to check my
I'm
emails.
expecting tacos on set.
Oh, that'd
So
be,
hopefully.
why wouldn't you?
I know.
Be amazing. So how did you get involved in that particular project? We know how we got involved, but
I believe it was released on Backstage, but due to a lot of unforeseen circumstances, I don't use Backstage anymore. But my agent, he scours the internet looking for all sorts of stuff, and he found The Body. And he had reached out to Keith several times, but Keith was wanting me to submit on Backstage. So I'm like, well, I guess it's just not meant to be. So I'm not submitting. And then he came back to my agent and said, hey, I would really like her to submit. So we finally worked through that and I submitted. And here we are.
rest is history.
Rest is history. I was cast. I was really excited. I thought the writing was really great from what I had. I thought you and I had a really good charisma on camera when we first auditioned, or maybe it was the second audition for me. I'm not positive. I think it was the second, but I thought it was great. I'm really excited about the next episodes that we get to read.
Yeah, we got to do a chemistry read. Something that you probably don't know, though.
Okay.
So Matt is playing the role of Jeremiah in that series. For those that don't know, so Ruby is playing Amy. Amy is my wife on the series. Amy to Ian. You are playing Jeremiah, another prominent figure in the series. But we went out and we talked about this on another episode. We both went out for Ian we both read for Ian, and we didn't know that we had auditioned for we knew we were auditioning for the same thing once we started talking and realized we were talking about the same thing. So luckily it just all worked out and we ended up getting
It did work out. And I think this is how we found Ruby, because you said, hey, I met this really cool actress who was also a Marine. Matt, do you know her? I was like, no, I do not, but we need to get her on the show. So I want to ask, what was I got your bio here. I can read this back to the audience, but that's not fun. I want to know from your own words, like, what was your journey? What sparked this acting, producing journey for you? And when did it start and how?
Well, it started in elementary school. I was in theater. I was the Sugar Plum Fairy in kindergarten. I did several other plays in elementary school. I did a bunch of pageants, different things like that. I really wanted to be a model when I was in the 6th grade. I loved, is it Stephanie Seymour? I thought she was so amazing. I wanted to be just like her.
Dr. Quinn, medicine woman.
No,
No, that's
That's
Jane
Jane
Seymour.
Seymour.
She's talking
Jane.
about a model.
Stephanie Seymour is
Keep up.
like beautiful dark hair, like Victoria's Secret model.
Jane Seymour's pretty hot.
So I started taking modeling classes in the 6th grade from this model that I found at the local fair that I was going to, and did that for a couple of years, and then got into theater. And my family and I moved around a lot, so I wasn't in the drama program, but I was always reading Shakespeare, Bernard Shaw. I loved reading when I was in junior high, high school. And we eventually moved from Texas to Ohio, and there was this thing called the Cincinnati Overture Awards. And I started working with one of the drama teachers, trying to hone my skills, trying to get into essentially a theater school, college after high school. And my junior year, I bombed really bad in the Cincinnati Overture Awards. And I just kept working, kept doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. And my senior year, I started working with another drama teacher at a local school in West Union, Ohio. And he started developing me more towards roles for me. My junior year, I did Hamlet. And in the late 1900s, no one wants to see, a teenage girl going out for Hamlet. And that was some of the feedback I got at the awards that I went and auditioned at. So my senior year, I'm developing my roles and my skills, and I was studying Malin from Steel Magnolias, and that was the character I was studying. And I performed the monologue where Shelby had died, and she was telling her friends at the cemetery about when she took Shelby off of the machines and all of that. And I placed, and I went to the next round. So I went to finals, or I was set to go to the finals to the Cincinnati Overture Awards. And that really just opens up a lot of doors for auditioning for scholarships in college, all of those things. But I decided that I was going to join the military instead. So I graduated high school early. I never went to the finals at the Cincinnati Overture Awards. And I went to boot camp instead because I was like, boot camp seems a little bit easier than trying to figure out all this other stuff. So I joined the Marine Corps instead. So 8 years in the Marine Corps, and then 11 years in the intelligence community after I got out of the military. And in 2017, I was just really tired of everything that I was doing in the intelligence community. That's another story. So I had built a 5-year plan in 2012. And in 2017, that 5 years was over, and I'm like, I'm pretty much set. I have all this money in reserves. My boyfriend, my husband, now we got married in 2020. he was completely supportive. He's like, hey, do what you want to do. So I left the intelligence community. I started being a fitness instructor. I had my certification from 2016. I went to school for about a year, and I built a fitness company, and I had clients. I love fitness. I'm in the gym five times a day. I love training people, helping them be healthier. And it still was kind of blah. I didn't really like it, but I started doing fitness modeling from there. So from fitness modeling, I started doing a lot of runway and modeling in magazines and commercials. But a few things started coming up, and I'm like, why don't I get back into acting? I like that a lot more. I mean, they're completely different. A lot of people think modeling and acting is so much alike, but it's so different.
Can you describe? I don't mean to interrupt. Can you describe that for aspiring models who may be watching too? What are the differences and similarities that you
And
see?
there's different types of modeling. I mean,
Right.
There are so many different types of modeling. So one of the things for modeling is, I mean, you're still playing a role, but that role is a lot different. You know, you're selling a product specifically when you're modeling, and sometimes you don't really even understand what that product is that you're selling. I know that sounds kind of weird. Runway is completely different than commercial modeling or
print shoots.
print shoots. I can't think of the word I was looking for. But when you're a model, you know, you're not learning lines. You need to learn your angles, and you need to learn, you know, different posture techniques and different ways to be able to be photogenic. And as an actor, yeah, you need to learn all your angles, but you're also learning empathy, and you're learning, you know, breaking down of different people and characters, and they are absolutely completely different. The modeling side of the entertainment industry, it's I would say it's very cutthroat, and when no one wants to pay you. You know, people want you to do so much for free. There's a group of people that are able to get paid for modeling, but the majority of people are buying their own tickets to runway shows or photo shoots.
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
It's the opposite of what I would have thought. Sorry.
It's very hard. And I mean, girls are so mean to each other. People are so mean to each other. I did a runway shoot or a runway show in Atlanta in 2021, I believe it was. And the person that was running the show, she was one of the owners of the company, I think. I'm not really positive of her actual title. Like, she was shoving a 16-year-old girl around and screaming at her. And I was like, hey, you know she's 16 years old. You probably need to take your hands off of her. And she just looks at me, and she's frantic in a frenzy, and everything was just so disorganized. And that was my last runway show because I was like, 1, I'm too old for this. 2, I'm going to knock somebody out. And 3, like, I just can't do this anymore. And,
I'd pay to see that.
I told you so.
It was just so, I was like, why am I doing this to myself? And I had to sell, I think it was 4 tickets to the show. I ended up buying them myself because I was like, I'm not going to go out. I bought them, and then I went out on the street and gave them to someone. But
So I want to hit, if I can interrupt again, I'm sorry. I'm famous for that. The ticket thing. So they're giving you tickets to then sell to come to the runway show. So essentially you're selling tickets. It's almost like a pay to play,
Yes.
a pay to walk kind of thing. Okay.
yes.
That's prominent in the music industry
Well,
too.
what's the end state? What's the goal? Like that they think that you're going to do enough of these free ones, but it's going to give you the exposure that you need to be this bigger model.
Well, that's the selling point. That's what they tell you.
Got
But
it.
really, they have to sell tickets because they have to pay for this venue
Right.
that they don't want to have to pay for. And oh, you're gonna, this is gonna give you so much exposure and it's gonna do all of these things. And really, it doesn't do any of that. And, girls, they even dudes, I mean, there's boys there too. They want, that they think that, okay, if I do this, this is gonna do this. And it doesn't work like that. So with the whole ticket thing, and that's very common, even in, New York Fashion Week, Atlanta, LA Fashion Week, all over the place. It's very common. Very rarely does a model get on one of the really big shows where they're getting paid to be there. But at this fashion show in Atlanta that I went to, their thing was, hey, the model that sells the most tickets will get a plane ticket and pretty much an all expenses paid ride to New York Fashion Week for their show in New York. Now that seems great, but the guy that actually got the most tickets sold, they gave it to someone else.
Wow.
I was standing right there when they gave it to another girl because they just didn't like the kid. And the funny thing is that boy ended up going to Marine boot camp with my kid. He was he
Wow.
went to boot camp with my son. He sold like 25 tickets or something like that. The other girl sold none, but they wanted her to be in the fashion show. So for me, and
It's
I
a
know
popularity contest is what it comes down
exactly,
to.
and it's not like that everywhere, but that's the overwhelming majority of the things that I saw, and that's why I'm like, this is dumb. I'm not going
Now,
to do this anymore.
contrasting that experience with you moved into acting then. You said, I'm done with this. I'm going to do this other thing now.
Yes.
Okay.
So acting, there are instances where it's, friends will hook somebody up, it's a networking thing. It's who you know in some instances, but for the most part, acting whittles those people out. So, everybody starts back here in the race and little by little it narrows up and everyone or the people that are in it to win it, that are in it for talent, that are successful, that have their heads on straight and that are going to make it, they get down to that funnel.
That's a great way of looking at it.
It
I
is.
didn't think about that. Like, sure, you might get your first few by getting a little hook up here and
Yeah.
there, but eventually your experience is going to catch up with you.
Exactly.
Or lack thereof, or lack of talent, or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, it's talent, it's the business side of it, it's, whether or not you can talk to people, kindness, yes. A lot of the times kindness gets taken as weakness. And, there are times where someone thinks because, oh, well, this person's super nice, and then they take advantage of that. So those types of people, they get weeded out too.
You need to have super thick skin too and be
Yeah.
very comfortable with a lot of rejection, I would say.
Yeah, if you're not used to the word no, this is not a good business for you to be
Right.
in.
Yeah. So, going back to the whole in your head thing, right?
Right.
So if you're not well, you have things that are traumatizing you from wherever, you're not going to make it. You have to make sure that you have the eye on the prize. You know exactly what you're doing. You are able to tell yourself, hey, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. This is not going to make or break you. Just because you didn't get this role that you killed yourself for doesn't mean anything. Everything happens for a reason. And if it doesn't happen, it wasn't meant to be. And you can't keep going back saying, well, what if this and what did I do wrong? You did nothing wrong. You did absolutely nothing wrong. It's not you. It wasn't meant for you. And I think that a lot of people start back here. They don't realize how mentally tough you have to be to get to here.
Mhm.
And they just can't take it and they quit.
There are so many factors that go into that, right? Motivation. I would even put talent kind of at the bottom of the list.
Well,
but-
discipline always trumps motivation. You know,
Yeah.
that's the difference of waking up in the morning and going, I can work out today, or going, I need to work out today.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
speaking of lack of discipline, I wish I'd printed these larger because I need my glasses because she's done so much. I try to get it on one page and I can't even read my own
Yeah.
own
Well,
printout. But
that's just indicative of all the work that she's done. That's amazing.
but you have some upcoming stuff that's still in production that I can't even read. So do you want to talk about any of those?
So I think Sleepers is on that list.
Yeah, there's 4 at the top there.
So
Sleepers.
Sleepers, it is completed. It was released maybe today.
What time is it?
Yesterday or today. Sleepers, it's an indie project by Fox Films. Not Crystal Fox. It's Crystal Fox Films, but Mike Fox, his daughter Ariana, and his wife. I always get her name wrong, and I apologize. I'm so sorry. She's amazing. But they have their own production company called Crystal Fox Films. And Sleepers was a project that they started, I would say 2 years ago. And it's essentially KGB operatives that infiltrate America. And they are taught from birth that they have to take down America from
It's like the
within.
Americans then.
Very similar to that. So I was cast, I think I was one of the last ones as a KGB overseer, or not overseer, but I was
Handler.
I was a handler, and I had to learn Russian dialect, and it was
Wow.
it was fun.
Do you have a dialect coach, or did you teach yourself, or Rosetta Stone, or just make it up?
My son's friend is from Russia,
Oh,
and
that's
he taught me,
fantastic.
and I paid him like $60 every time he came over to help me out.
Were they huge monologues or you had some?
They weren't huge
Okay.
monologues. They were pretty small. I think I did probably 4 or 5 scenes. I wasn't a principal character. I was probably low level supporting, which is, it's something. They live in Delaware, great family. They've pretty much started everything on their own. They have their own production company. It runs really smoothly. It's an entertaining film. It's called Sleepers. I know it's on Amazon. It's also available to be purchased on DVD.
A full feature.
It is a full feature. It's a fun little film.
So you talk about that funnel. I mean, that's a different level of funnel. Now you got to have the acting skills. You have to have the chops. You have to have the confidence. Now you're layering on not just a accent, but an entirely different language that you've
Yeah.
never done.
Right.
Yeah.
And you backstage we were talking. You said you never actually get to play the intelligence roles, although you have that background. Well, this sounds like you did in this case. So,
Yeah, it was. I think that it allowed me to use some of my background for that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was definitely up there with one of the most interesting roles that I've had to prepare for. I really liked it. And when they did the premiere in Delaware, it was the best premiere I've ever been to. It was so much fun. So at the end of the movie, they recognized everyone in the cast.
Very
And they
cool.
talked about every single person in that cast. And everything that I do, I try and take something away, whether it be good or bad. I try to take more good away from different things that I've done. And one of the things that I learned from them was how to identify something good with absolutely everyone in the cast and crew. And I think that's important because there are always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be misunderstandings, and identifying what good everyone brings is beneficial, because at the end of the day, why do you want to keep remembering the bad? It's like when you have a baby, right? after labor, you're like, man, that was so painful. I never want to do this again. And then a month later, you're like, I want to have another baby. This is so amazing. That's what it's like after I get done with a project.
I didn't feel a thing.
Yeah, I can't relate. Oh,
But I completely empathize with you.
But that's taking away, and I can ramble. I apologize, but taking away the best things out of something versus the bad.
well,
Yeah.
that helps with the next, because we always like to ask, and you don't have to name names, and if you don't have a story, that's fine. Any horror stories or bad things that have happened on set that are funny or both? Like
Okay.
like what sticks out in your, but not necessarily that set, but just
No, that set was great.
Yeah.
She's already got one. She
she's
started laughing. I went,
preloaded.
I have so many.
Share. These are great.
So I produce a lot of my own content, and I think it's really good when actors produce something of their own, because it helps them figure out, well, what's casting like? What is production like? What is writing a script and having to coordinate all of these things like? So it gives you that little bit of identification into, why is this, happening like this? Why am I not doing all of my scenes together? Why do I have to wait 3 hours? Why is this? Why is that? So if you produce your own content, and even a larger film versus a short film, it really gives you insight into, oh, wow, I never thought of that. Now I won't do that in the future, or I will do this in the future. I have a lot of really crazy stories. So on Dogwood, like we mentioned, so I started writing Dogwood in 2021. My sister, who's obsessed with Westerns and television, she's like, you should really write a Western. And I'm like, well, do you realize how expensive a Western would be? Have you even thought about it? She's like, no, that's you. Like, this is my idea. You're supposed to do something with
you
it.
go
But
do
these
it.
are not
Figure it out.
insignificant problems.
Exactly. And so I'm like, okay. And she's like, well, there's this set in Southern Ohio where we live, where we're from, and you could do it there. Again, do you realize how expensive this is going to be? So, of course, I love a challenge. So I started writing Dogwood. It developed over time. Well, in summer of 2022, we being me, planning on producing and filming Dogwood, the short film. It all fell apart. Nothing was working out the way it was supposed to. One thing after another. So I had to postpone production. That was August of 2022. So I kept writing, developing the story, and one of the girls that I had cast, she kept coming back at me, and she's like, hey, are we ever going to do this? Are we ever going to do this? And I said, okay, but I want to make it a feature instead of a short. So I think it was at like 50, 55 pages. When she came on, we developed it to 70 pages. And essentially, I don't want to film more than 10 pages a day. It's very difficult to do more than 10 pages a day, 8 to 12-hour days. So 70 pages. The story really wasn't complete yet. So we had hired a director. She came on, and we didn't want to make it over 70 pages, but she added 24 pages to the story. Okay, well, you need to take out 24 because we don't have the time or money to film at 70 or after 70 pages. Well, we went into principal photography with 94 pages. And from the time that we started getting more cast and crew on, moving forward with casting, I kind of let people take over things that I should have just said no to. So I learned a lot with, hey, no, stay in your lane. Except I was just way too generous.
Some things you can delegate, some things you got to micromanage probably.
Exactly.
Right?
I should have micromanaged a lot more. So anyways, We move past May, June, July, August 4th, we start filming. August 4th, 5th, 6th, the director's 2 hours late every day.
Is this for travel issues or just?
Diva issues?
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. But every night at the production meeting, you know, we're at midnight because we are not making the day. Things are not working out. Me, my husband, the UPM, the unit production manager, and the DP, the director of photography, we're sitting down and we're like, hey, you can't be late. We're not making the day, not just because you're not showing up on time, but there's other issues. So we would talk calmly, and needless to say, on Friday, I lose my crap and I chew her out. And of course,
I want to see that.
Anyway, B-roll.
so the interesting thing is the story behind the scenes is always better than the story in front of the camera. It's always, I'm like, why are we not filming this story behind the scenes? So, of course, I was a little bit embarrassed that I lost my crap in front of everybody. Just a little bit, though. I mean, really not that embarrassed. But she absolutely deserved it. No doubt in my mind. She overstated her capabilities when I auditioned her or I met with her, and it was blatantly clear during principal photography. So Saturday, I mean, we're not making the day at all. On Friday, we were supposed to film with specific horses at a specific location. She's an hour late, 30 minutes, maybe hour late. We were supposed to start filming at 10 a.m. We didn't start filming until 1. We lost the horses at 5, completely on her.
Wow.
I was like, hey, why are we not filming? Why are we not filming? Like, I do not want to lose my crap. And this is Friday morning. Friday evening at midnight, I lost my crap. So, I mean, it's just one thing after another. Monday, we talked about Eric Roberts is on this film, right?
Pope of Greenwich Village, Eric Roberts?
I don't know.
I
That's
don't
an
know.
old movie. You talking about
Is that
Julia
a movie?
Roberts' brother?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
One of the actors, and supposedly this was discussed in a production meeting, but an actor brought his own gun to set.
Mm.
You can't do that?
Now, because I wanted to get to safety on set, because I know in Dogwood there are weapons.
Yes.
I was going to say, you were a primary marksmanship instructor in the Marine
Yes.
Corps, which you
Yes.
probably had to separate that part of yourself from.
Yes,
I would imagine.
it was very difficult, but a lot of the guns we used were casings. It was all black powder. So a lot of those black powder guns that we used, or they were just prop guns, period, you would have to load them specifically to have gunpowder and lead in order to use them. But that doesn't matter. You know, if you bring a gun to set and I don't realize that gun is not on set with the armory, we can't determine if there's if it's loaded or not.
Right.
But on that Monday, I was doing a bunch of administrative work. I wasn't on set. You know, I was a little trying to distance myself because I was just pissed. Like, I was so angry for about a week because of everything that was just happening. Like, there is just so much crazy stuff. So Monday, I walk with this actor down to the parking lot and we have a conversation. He's a great guy. And he's talking about the gun he has. And I'm like, dude, you need to turn that back in. Like, you have to turn that back in. You can't take it with you. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. No, dude, you can't buy that gun. It goes back to the armory. Well, he and I were kind of talking around each other because he had brought it with him and I did not realize he brought it with him, but the director knew he brought, and he's pointing this gun at Eric Roberts all day. So the armorer, he's like, hey, we're missing this gun. And he shows me a picture. I just saw this guy have that gun. And I was like, what the mother F is happening? You know, it's just one thing after another. So I call the guy and he's like, Ruby, that's my gun. I'm not coming back. And I'm like, you're a thief. And I'm like saying all these terrible things.
There's like multiple levels of wrong here. Like,
I need an audio recording of this, or it didn't happen.
now, where did John Voight come into this?
So,
John Voight calls her later.
so this gun's like $1,000.
Ugh.
And there has already been gear and wardrobe stolen from actors that had already been wrapped. So I was here.
So was it his gun? Was it not his gun?
It
Did we ever
wa-
get to the bottom of it?
It was his gun. So the armor was like, no, that's my gun. It says here he checked it out. He had checked out a belt, not an actual gun.
Okay.
The gun that was missing, somebody just left.
That's also scary, though. Accountability. Like the armorer doesn't know how many guns he actually originally had.
Well, that exact gun was laying somewhere on a bench. Somebody just put it on a bench somewhere. So
Definite safety issues.
So
there.
I was just done. So I go and I start yelling at the director again. And it was completely unprofessional. Like I was wrong. I totally was wrong. I'm going to say, but I didn't know that guy brought his own gun. She knew he brought his own gun. It should have been you don't bring your gun. You know, but either way, me screaming at this chick was, I don't want to know if I was screaming. I really don't remember because I kind of blacked out because I was so pissed. But I mean, I look back on it now and I just laugh and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened.
And you guys are now best friends, and she comes over for dinner.
She actually threatened to sue me. So she quit the next day.
Or there's that.
She quit the next day, which, whatever, but you quit. So when you quit, you're done. Like, you're not a part of the project anymore. At this point, because production was not done very well for principal photography, things were not captured. Stuff was just cut completely because she couldn't make the day. So we've had to do pickups, and we're going back out to Ohio in 2 weeks to do 3 days worth of pickups. So I'm listed as a director because I've now done more directing than her. So she's really upset that I'm listed as a director in addition to her.
But this is your project?
I wrote it. She is listed as a co-writer because I'm not petty. And she accused me of being petty and greedy. And, she was going to get lawyers involved. Do I need to stop? Okay. So, it's just, so I look back on it now. I've learned a lot, but boy, oh boy, was it painful.
That was just one story.
That was
of
one
many that she has. We're going to have to bring her back on.
She told me a story backstage that I won't repeat on camera, but it's...
Well, you can't tease it like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it up and then I'm going to drop it, just like that.
So various backstage programs projects that I've been a part of, scams. So that's another reason why I don't use Backstage anymore.
Okay, you're actually talking about the site Backstage. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So I was.
What are the indicators? What are the red flags?
Oftentimes when people reach out to you, it's usually a scam.
From Backstage, they're reaching out?
From Backstage. Hey, can you apply for this? Hey, I have this project. I would like you to do this.
And if it's not your agent,
that's why I'm like, hey, go through my agent. I don't want to do this. We did principal photography. We did production for 45 days and it was all a scam. The guy had no money.
45 days.
Wow.
45 days. We started, it was January 3rd of 2020. We wrapped, it was, I think some of the cast and crew wrapped right after Valentine's Day on February 14th, 2020. And the guy had no money. I mean, it was just one thing after another.
He promised money though.
He's like, oh, I have money coming in, you know, these investors this, these investors that. One of the production managers, it was 2 weeks in, he's like, hey, why are we not getting paid? And the guy's like, oh, you know, money's coming in, blah, 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 blah. And this guy is like, dude, you know, I'm not getting the warm and fuzzy, you're legit. And the guy made everybody turn on him, or at least, oh, this guy's out to get me. He's threatening me. So a lot of us felt bad for him. We're like, oh, he's, you know, this and that. And so I was like, it's kind of weird, but I didn't know anyone. I was the very last person to be brought in on this project. I just, you know, I didn't want to like jump to conclusions, be the crazy girl. And the guy was a Navy vet. So I was like, I don't want to, you know, we share this. The guy, complete liar. He started another project during, oh, well, money's coming in during COVID. I did a background check on him. I found out that he had filed for bankruptcy it was like June of 2020. And he was working on this other project. He was getting one of the other guys who was an Air Force veteran, retired, I think. This guy was going to give him $160,000. And I reached out to the guy and I'm like, do not do this. He's going to take your money and he's either going to pay all of us on this other project or he's going to take the money and run. And everybody was so upset with me because they're like, we could have got our money. What are you talking about?
That's called a Ponzi scheme.
Like he was stealing money from this veteran
Right.
to pay all of us. I would rather not take this money. And so me and the other guy, the production manager that first blew the whistle, we were the only ones that wanted to take him to court. Everyone else, oh, we'll just let him get away with it.
So beware, audience. There are scams out there.
There's a lot.
Now, there's a caveat to that. I will say I've been contacted a couple times on Backstage that have been legit. But I will also say, and it might be controversial.
Yeah, we don't want to vilify Backstage here. That's not their fault.
That's not my goal. Yeah.
No. But in your defense, what I will say is I have seen it work that way for females in the industry. You know, there is a difference sometimes when it comes down to, I mean,
it's all rooted in misogyny, right? Is that what you're saying?
Happens. No. But you know, there are people out there that
Preying
will take
on.
advantage of a situation.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, I knew exactly what you were saying, but
Cut.
it's
No.
cut. Yeah. We're looking for stuff to edit out anyway.
Yeah, well.
Nobody's ever.
Well, when's John Voight coming in?
both of our viewers,
All three.
all three.
I watch it.
Hi, Mom. It happens sometimes, though.
Yeah.
And we talked with other actors or actresses that have mentioned that they've had some difficult times.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface with Ruby Garnet, Beckwith, Singleton, and I did it. I got it out
did
there,
it,
all
yeah.
four names.
Reverend.
But I mean, because we didn't really get well, that was a great story because it kind of weaved into what she does with production.
Yeah.
That's more behind the scenes stuff. But the lessons learned, you probably have to share. Like if you were to share with the audience, somebody that's new to the industry, trying to break in, just starting out, knowing what you know now, looking back, what would you tell them from an actor's standpoint?
From an actor's standpoint,
Or production standpoint, whatever you feel.
I would say make sure that you vet the person. You know, during an audition, you get as much information as you can on the person and you just look into who they are, who their name is, you know, if they've been a part of a production company. If you feel something's not right, just walk away. If something does not feel right, you're like,
Trust your gut.
yes, I kind of have that weird feeling. Just walk away.
And yet she still came on the podcast.
I was going to say, I appreciate
know.
you having that feeling, but still, you know, two guys invite you into their basement. What could go wrong?
It's a studio.
Studio.
Where can people find you if they want to look you up?
I'm on Instagram, Mrs._Ruby Garnet. I'm also on Facebook for Ruby Garnet or Ruby Garnet Beckwith. And I do have a website. It's rubygarnetsingleton.com. It will be changed to rubygarnet.com.
We'll put all those in the comments when we release this.
Yeah.
Any final questions, Dean?
No, I just want to say it's going to be fantastic to work with you for the next couple, at least the next couple months, because I don't know what the future holds for this project, but it seems like we all really get along and have a good chemistry here, and I can only think that that'll carry over into this project. So, Ruby, thank you so much for being here, and we'll have to have you back. We say that to everybody, I think, but it always feels like 5 minutes, even though it's been 45. There's just too much to talk about.
It's been 55.
Okay.
Well, there we go.
It goes fast, but we blathered in the first 5, and you know,
We
you
do.
can edit
That's-
me out. So,
That's on us.
is
Usually,
anything?
Matt.
Well, I mean, the floor is still yours. If there's something you want to share.
I want to say thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun. But never forget where you come from. Never forget where you're going. And always do some of your own productions. Do your own productions so that you can find out and figure out what you really want to do in the industry. And it will help you be a better it will help you be a better actor.
Great
Yeah,
advice.
absolutely. I think she's talking to you, Matt.
She was looking right at me. Hurts.
Well, so the way we like to end it is, if you find this episode helped you, or anything that we talked about, or any novice actors, any veteran actors that need a little bit of help, you want to learn about the DMV, we'll put everything to be able to reach Ruby down below, but also hit subscribe, the like, the socials, all that stuff. Share us with someone you think this might benefit, and we'll see you on the next.